Hello and welcome, esteemed guests, to my channel. My name is Ainsley. Let's do stuff. Today we are back with another Pride-themed video. I'm doing a few of them in the month of June, as many as I can squeeze in anyway. We're working today on a starter apartment, and it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. There's also a spot for a cat. And I'm thinking of it as maybe girlfriends and it's their first apartment together. So it's a little bit run down, it's in need of some TLC. The original apartment is Salim Benali's in the, I think is it the Arts District or the Spice Quarter? Now I don't remember. But it's 910 Medina Studios, whichever area Medina Studios is in. I have that chronic problem when I'm doing my gameplay that I always am in the same apartment building and I always go to the same sections of town. I usually always play in the building that Jesminder and Aaron Bahita are in, so I am not as familiar with anything outside of that. Here you can see I was struggling a bit with the floor plan. I had to work around the constraints of not only the size and the shape of the apartment, but also I wanted to leave the things that break down around the house as accessible as possible. And there's quite a few of them and they are all concentrated just in one corner. So trying to figure out what I was going to do with that was a bit of a challenge. Plus, I am a huge stickler for things making sense. Like, I didn't want to have the water pipes in the bedroom. I figured they'd be in the bathroom, so that's where I wanted to put them. And another thing that made this house so difficult was the wall height. I think it's the highest wall height, and it made putting in a range hood just so impossible. They all looked really weird, especially I start with this more kind of modern look, but I realized I wanted to do a bit of a rundown fixer-upper place, so I switched to all the old counters, and that made things go even less when I tried to put a range hood in. And I was trying to think back to when I was living in an apartment, what the situation was with the range hood. So what I actually did was use this exterior wall decoration of that vent and imagined it as like a fan that sucked things up kind of more discreetly into the wall, because I'd imagine all of the ducts would have been in the wall, because the rest of the options to me really looked too big and like the ducts would be huge. What I did here was mismatch the chairs, and they're just those like folding chairs. I really like that. I think when you're doing a rundown looking place, the mismatched chairs work really well. And that's the only thing that you might have to move, because I think the bad odors come out of those vents on the floor, and to access that you might just have to move the table out of the way. But the kitchen's not too cluttered, so it shouldn't be hard to just move it over to deal with that, and I didn't mind that as much. I just didn't want to put everything on top of everything so that it was impossible to access. And then the way I did the bathroom long and narrow left me with that little nook, so I kind of turned it into a study nook, plus I put the little, I guess it's not a cat tree because it's not big enough, but you know what I mean, the thing for the cat just by the window, so the cat could sit up and look out the window, and it's also right by the mouse hole. So I don't actually know, because I only just recently got cats and dogs, so I don't know if cats chase after those mice or if they just don't interact with them at all. It would be cool if they did. But anyway, the idea behind it is that when they realized they had mice, they figured, oh perfect, that's where we'll put the cat. And I also put the litter box in the bathroom. Now, I don't play with laundry and I don't have laundry day, but I would imagine that that bathroom is big enough that if you did want to play with laundry, you could put laundry in there. You could put the machine, and there's definitely room for a hamper in the bedroom. So if that's something you're interested in doing, there's probably the room for it. You'd probably just have to move the litter box and probably put it next to the desk, actually, would be a good spot for it. So I did use 2 CC items in this build. They're pride flags that I got online. They are the only items of CC, so you can still download the apartment without them, and that's all you'll be missing. Apartments, if you don't know, are rooms on the gallery. That's how you upload them. So they will be missing the doors that I put in, but you can put the same doors from this video or whichever doors you'd like. And I put an archway into the kitchen, but same thing, you could close it off with a door if you wanted. But my origin ID is Ainsley Plays Sims, and I think the name of the build is Girlfriend's First Place. It comes in at just over 18,000, so you could play it as just just a single sim starting out and acquire the girlfriend and the cat as your gameplay goes on, or you could start with all 3 members of the family if you'd prefer. Also, I know some people will get on my case about how, like, not all lesbians or not all queer women have cats, but here's the thing, every single one that I know does. Like, me and all of my friends have cats. Or if they don't, they're waiting on the day that they live in an apartment that lets them have cats. So it's a cliche that I don't mind leaning into. Also, I hadn't decided when I started the build which pride flag I was going to go with. I kind of decided that I'd go with whatever suited the color scheme of the build best and whatever I was rolling with. And when I had that bed swatch, I realized how well the pan flag went, and then all of the string lights that we got with Parenthood have the pink, yellow, and blue swatches. So I kind of ran with that. So there's this pan pride flag in the bedroom, and then I put, I think, just a rainbow flag out by the little study nook. And I like how the yellow brings an added layer of color into the build, because previously I was working with a lot of just pink, and I felt like it was getting to be a little too much. And also I had started to go with more eclectic furnishing versus more dainty and feminine furnishing, so I liked the expanded color palette options. I also put in those Void Critter posters and one of those DJ posters from Get Together because I imagined that they were posters from their favorite anime. Like, I have a friend, one of her first apartments was decorated almost wall to wall with anime posters that she and her girlfriend liked to watch together, so it was kind of a little nod to their apartment in that way. And then I also put in the bubble blower because it was originally here in Salim's place before I kind of tore it apart and unfurnished it. I was talking about using it when I did the Jazz Singer's tiny home that I did because I like the idea of it, but I wasn't sure I had a build that suited it. But then, like, the color scheme here just fits so well with the pan color scheme that I've been carrying through the place, so I figured I couldn't not. Here's where I put the rainbow flag in this corner. I tried to use those banners too because they have the rainbow swatch, but I didn't like the way the banner looked, so I actually put another one of those little rainbow club things in the bedroom. And I do some of like the last minute detailing off camera just because I was getting really stuck and trying a bunch of things that weren't working, and I didn't want to end up recording it all, but you will see the final look the way I go for it in the screenshots. I find it's a delicate balance to strike between being really matchy-matchy with the theme, in this case the pan pride colors, and then going too over the top so that it looks gaudy. Plus, this kind of was an apartment that I wanted to furnish a little bit gaudy, and I wanted it to be a little bit stylized, because I think when a lot of young queer people are starting out, the rainbow decoration sense is something that's very widely used. I think there's a certain eagerness to finally be on your own and finally be able to be yourself, so I wanted to show that too in this build. But I think even without the pride flags, you can enjoy the build for what it is if you didn't want to download those CC items. But anyway, this brings us to the end of the build and into the screenshots. That rainbow thing that you can see hanging behind that extra chair, that actually comes in base game. Well, it comes with seasons, but it's not CC. So if you want to add more rainbows but you don't want those flags, you can definitely use those. And there's a rainbow swatch for the lights from Parenthood. So there's a lot of base game slash, you know, Maxis options for rainbow decor if you wanted to inject that back into the build. If you like this build, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. The music for this video, as always, was done by Chucky. I'll link his SoundCloud below, and until next time, get out there and do stuff.